What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. Just note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30 in total, not to mention 8.1% APY in uninvested cash. Anyways, as far as the market's going, we're trying to push. We're seeing SPY and the QQQ, ES, and many futures trying to break out of their falling wedges so far, which is a very good sign, at least approaching Nvidia's earnings. But I do want to warn you guys to be very careful now as we're trying to push already. And I also want to talk about some very, very key levels. So, as a reminder for Nvidia's earnings, okay, we have them releasing their earnings at 4:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll give you guys one more reminder later on today before the market closes. And keep in mind, this is coming at 20 minutes after market close. We have earnings, and then at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's 1 hour after the stock market closes, we have the conference call. That's going to be very, very important for how this market's going to be moving. So keep that in mind. So with that being said, what's happening from this point on? SPY had this falling wedge-like structure, it's trying to break out, and the market's pushing, approaching Nvidia's earnings. Right now, Nvidia is leading the way with a big pump. And I just want to say that when you zoom out like this, there's quite clearly an inverse head and shoulders, right? We have a left shoulder, a head, and then a right shoulder, which could be a more bullish outcome. Now, I'm not telling anyone to buy puts, or I'm not saying I'm buying puts or I'm buying calls. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just talking about what the setup is suggesting. I also go over some contingencies where I could talk about the bearish and bullish cases. That does not mean that I'm simply buying or selling. I'm simply just trying to tell you guys about what the pattern looks like. So, with that being said, what do I see from this point on? If we have a very, very good report from Nvidia, we could be looking for an attempt to pump even more with an inverse head and shoulders. If we have a bad report, okay, if things don't go well, if maybe guidance is not too good, we could be looking for an attempt to lose 126 if that fails us. If we lose this low here, then I do think that we could be dumping, and then this would be looking like a smaller head and shoulders, and that could lead to more downside for the markets. Could go either way from this point, so that's why you want to be very open-minded. But the bullish outcome looks a little bit more probable, just a bit more looking at the setup. We'll see, guys. The last 4 times Nvidia had its earnings, it did end up seeing a bullish outcome for the share price, but it's not always guaranteed. So we have to be prepared just to be safe. So as far as the market's going, SPY remains bullish. We're looking for this breakout from this falling wedge. So far, we have our 200 EMA at 599.31. If we could break that, I'm looking for 601 as our potential targets. If we end up losing support right here around this 595 area or 594 area, I'm looking for essentially 590. And if that fails us, we have 584, which is where the gap happens to be. So for now, we look bullish. As of right now, we're trying to push higher. We want to see if we could break 599.3, and that's why you want to be a little bit more careful. But if we push way too hard, too fast, I would be a lot more cautious then. I actually had longs and I took profits for the most part already. I'm going to keep positions very minuscule, at least for Nvidia's earnings, because I'm not really the gambling type. I don't really like to gamble too much. So that's my honest opinion. That's kind of like the way I trade. For now, we are looking bullish, so we could go a little bit higher, so keep that in mind. QQQ could also go higher here. We have a nice breakout from this falling wedge. If we end up losing 516, we're looking for a dump back down to lower levels. And if we continue to break out, I'm looking for essentially 522 as our targets. If 520 breaks, look for 522 or above. We're looking optimistic. The Russell 2000, it's also trying to break to get back up to about 219 to 222. So far, so good. As long as we don't end up losing 216, we're looking quite good for the time being. ES is looking bullish. We're looking for essentially 6,023 or very close to where the trend line is. If that breaks, I'm looking for essentially 6,060. We could go a little higher, so we'll see what kind of reaction we get from here. On NQ, we're looking for essentially 21,488. If that breaks, we're looking for higher levels, especially as we have a breakout from this falling wedge. As long as we don't end up losing 21,250, we are still looking bullish. For Bitcoin, we're looking a little bit weaker right here. We were in a range between 85,000, about 88,000, going back and forth between these levels. So there's not really a whole lot that's going on right now. We're just kind of stuck right now. So give this some time to shuffle. Not really doing a whole lot. Once again, Nvidia is pushing nicely, outperforming. This is what's leading the market up. Tesla's lackluster. There's a lot of bad news coming out for it. If you look at this channel, we're bearish, very, very bearish on Tesla. I expect us to dump to 270. That's where we have previous resistance becoming support. If not, the gap fill to 250. I do expect us to dump a lot more, but I'm not sure if we're going to get a temporary bounce first. I would like that. If Nvidia does well with earnings, we could get a temporary bounce on Tesla and try to push back up towards, the 300s, 310s, 320s before we get that rug pull. Or if we don't do well for Nvidia, if Nvidia just gets a rug pull already, then we could be looking for a move right back down. That's also a very, very strong possibility, right? I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy about Tesla. I literally just want to be very, very pragmatic. I want to give you guys the truth, which is that Tesla is very weak, and I do expect more downside. So that's my honest assessment. I'm being very, very blunt and honest with everyone. There's going to be a big dump coming, especially because of their sales declining and because of very, very, I would say, limited expectations now for the next deliveries report. So keep that in mind. Apple looks a little lackluster. We're looking at 242 as the main support. If that holds, we could be looking for a bounce for 245. If that fails us, we're looking for essentially 238. So we'll see how that goes. For now, though, it's doing a decent job at holding support. So keep that in mind. Could dip to the low 240s, but we're still holding support quite well. For others out there, we have Coin, which looks bullish. I think there's a good chance we try to push for essentially 216. If that breaks, I'm looking for 218. Amazon is trying to break 217.5. If that breaks, we're looking for 220. Looks a bit more bullish. Meta is trying to break 680. If that breaks, we're looking for 691. Microsoft is looking for an attempt for 405. Looks a bit more bullish breaking out of this wedge. It's doing a good job. And finally, we have Google, which is on a bit of a downtrend now. We'll have to see how this ends up holding around this 176 area to see if this holds or not. So give this some time. It's still kind of lackluster though. So we'll see. The VIX is dumping so far. We're looking for support at 17.89. What I told you guys was true about how, we got this rejection. I mentioned to everyone that we were expecting, a rejection, especially because of the fact that the VIX tends to reject between 20 and 22. It happened many, many times. So yeah, we got the rejection so far. And if 17.89 does not hold, we could be dipping even more as the market remains bullish. But be careful, guys, because even if the market pumps more, you want to be careful because Nvidia's earnings is coming out. And if we get a big pump approaching it, then I'd be more cautious. My strategy has been, this is my strategy, guys, for those who are confused and asking me questions. I'm not buying puts on Nvidia for the people who ask me about that. That's not what I'm doing. My strategy has been to hold longs, actually. I was long on Nvidia since yesterday, since we had the low. Same thing with SPY and the QQQ. I've been long on those, and I've taken the majority of profits already, securing a very, very nice green day. And for holding overnights, I'm willing to do that to a very, very small extent. I'm willing to just do it for fun, but I'm using money I'm willing to lose when doing so. Um, so that's kind of like what my view is for now. Even if I lose everything that I'm holding overnight, like it doesn't matter to me because my wins are already surpassing the amount I'm holding, and that's what my strategy has been. So I've been more of a bull than a bear, but I do think that there could be another shorting opportunity coming later on for the markets. I'm not going to do it yet, so we'll see how it goes. If SPY does re-enter like these highs up here, if we do see a big rally, we still have a gap to fall all the way down to like 585, but that's later on for the future. I'm not really going to focus on that yet. As of right now, we take it one step at a time. That is that the market is bullish. So, I took the majority of profits. I'm kind of just chilling for the rest of the day, and I'm basically going to be waiting for Nvidia. May hold a small position here and there, but I'm going to keep it very minuscule and just be patient. That's what my main strategy is. But anyways, that's it for this one. You don't have to do what I do. I'm simply just telling you guys what I'm doing. Nothing I say is financial advice once again, and I just wish you all the best. Have a good day, guys. I'll be back to give you guys one more update about Nvidia in the markets. Until then, have a good one and peace out.